Have you asked yourself why worse players seem to rank up while you're still stuck in the same rank? After years of coaching, I can tell you that the reason you're not ranking up is that there's a bottleneck that needs to be addressed. For example, your game sense might be great, but if your mechanics are lacking, you'll be dying constantly. So to help you find and solve your bottleneck, in this video, I'll go over 6 tips every Valorant player needs to know, along with the exact ways to fix these common pitfalls. Now, to start off, many players, especially in low ranks, instinctively rest their crosshairs tight on the edge of the wall when holding an angle. And it might feel safer, but this habit actually limits your chances in real fight. By hugging the wall with your crosshair, you leave it way too far from where the enemy's head will appear, which forces a clunky adjustment the second a gunfight starts. And this makes your shot late or forces you to overflick while under pressure. And this whiff happens because players rely on reaction time alone, hoping they can outreact the swing. And one of the reasons why players hold their crosshair tight is because they watch VCT matches and see pros getting one taps while holding angles. But the only reason they're able to do that is, first of all, some of them just have crazy low reaction times, and second of all, it's because they're playing in a LAN tournament, which means they have zero latency and ping. So in reality, doing this in a regular game with even 40 milliseconds of latency is very hard. So unless you're Aspas or TENS, in most standard scenarios, you should just hold your crosshair slightly wider from the angle, especially when you're at close range. To fix this habit of holding too close to the angle, load up into a custom game on your favorite map. Grab a friend and have them peek you at different spots around a certain area of the map. Then make sure your crosshair is about 4 heads away from the angle. Alternatively, if you prefer, you can use TDM instead and focus on taking as many close range fights as possible. With enough practice, this kind of awareness will become second nature and you won't even have to think about it anymore. And speaking of angles, many players believe they position themselves perfectly when peeking out, but the following tip will show you why even good crosshair placement can fall apart without understanding angle stacking and overexposure. I understand that even with these tips, you might still be struggling to pinpoint which exact tip directly pertains to your current struggles of ranking up. So if you're feeling lost trying to guess what to work on and you want to finally hit your dream rank like our thousands of students, the Immortal Roadmap program is built exactly for you. Inside our 10-week premium coaching program, you'll get over 100 hours of personalized hands-on help from Radiant and VCT coaches. And we're so confident in getting your results that if you don't rank up at least 500 RR in 10 weeks, not only will we coach you for free until you reach your desired rank, but we'll also give you your money back if you don't see results. So if you'd like to work with us, you can use the link down below to book a free call with me or one of our coaches to see if we'd be a good fit. Now, back to the video. Besides crosshair placement, positioning is just as crucial. But it's easy to overlook how exposing yourself to multiple angles puts you at risk. Angle stacking happens when you peek so wide or at the wrong spot that you're visible to multiple angles and enemies at the same time. For example, when you swing B-side on Ascent, enemies in Market, Stairs, CT, and Boathouse can all see you at once. So how do we avoid making this mistake? When you're peeking out, to avoid overexposing yourself to multiple angles, you need to slice the pie and break down angles one by one, which makes it much easier to win individual fights and avoid getting instantly traded by enemies. This example from Asuna perfectly showcases how clearing the pie works. You're peeking out step by step, gradually clearing any possible angle and off angles on a site. And notice how when he does this, he pre-aims a spot that he's going to be peeking wider. You won't be able to clear everything with the slicing the pie technique, but when you're unsure of the enemy's position, slicing the pie is a good habit to peek safely. And one important tip to note is to use obstacles and walls to cover your back while scaling up. Instead of running towards the center of the site, utilize the extremities and walls of the site to reduce the amount of angles that you're exposed to. And to practice this, load into your favorite map and pick a bomb site and slowly clear angles one by one, only ever exposing yourself to angles you've already cleared. And this is also something you can practice in death matches, although it might be a bit harder since people just constantly move around. Now, this next third tip is essential, and many players don't pay enough attention to this mechanic, which is trading. Trading correctly is a key fundamental skill in Valorant. And without this, the chances of you winning the round drop drastically. Let's talk about the basics first and then get into the advanced. First of all, trading means working closely with your teammates. If one of you dies, the other is ready to trade the death instantly. This prevents your team from getting outnumbered early on, which can lose rounds fast. So on attack, trading lets you keep numbers for site takes and post plants. And on defense, it helps eliminate the first entry and makes taking the site much harder. To trade well, position yourself near your teammates and peek wide enough so they can support you, as well as you being able to support them. Usually, this means being just 1 to 2 steps behind them, not trailing too far back or right behind them so you block their movement or get collided. And pay attention to the pace you want to peek as well. We don't want to be lining up with our teammate, so make sure to pay attention to the pace pace that you want to peak. And as for the timing, you're going to want to peak about half a second after the entry goes out. Not so slow that your teammate dies alone, and not so fast that you're revealing both of you at once. The goal is for the defender to shoot at the entry or the first player, which gives you a window to trade. And another thing to keep in mind is that you need to make sure that your peak is wide enough to see every defender that could have killed your teammate. An example of this in action looks like this. You're attacking C site on Haven. You're right behind your Jet, and she dashes into their smoke on site. The defender starts shooting at the Jet and eventually kill her. You're already swinging the angle on long to trade and kill the defender who killed your entry. And this essentially gives you a 1-to-1 trade. And as I've always mentioned, 1-for-1 trades usually favor the attackers. And that's because the defenders will need to rotate, and a 4 versus 4 post plant with site control is easier to play compared to a retake. And now that we've spoken about attack, what about defense? On defense, trading kills plays a different but equally important role compared to attack. The primary goal is less about keeping the numbers even and more about controlling space and slowing down the attackers. When you trade effectively on defense, you prevent enemies from easily gaining site control, which forces them to use more utility or even make mistakes. Your positioning should avoid giving attackers free, uncontested kills. If you peek poorly or sit in an aggressive angle without any support, you risk being picked off instantly, which can open up huge areas of the map. By coordinating trades with teammates, defenders can hold the site down a lot easier. For example, let's look at bind B long. If one player plays in the cubby by TP and another plays close on long, they allow themselves to play off of each other. And if one player gets contact or dies, the other player can instantly be there to swing for the trade. And now that you understand the importance of trading with your team, it's time to talk about finding an aim style that suits your playstyle and tendencies. In Valorant, every high-ranked player has a different aiming style. Some players have calm, steady aim, while others rely on fast flicks, and many lie in between. Calm aimers focus on smooth tracking, smooth crosshair placement, and maintaining composure under pressure, while flicky aimers excel at snappy flicks and being able to still aim accurately while playing on high sensitivity. So what you can do is finding a pro whose aiming style looks similar to yours, watch how they practice, and study their habits and routines. If you aren't sure what kind of aiming style that you have, a simple and easy way to figure this out is by watching your own gameplay through the new replay system. Pay close attention to whether you aim more reactively, which is relying on fast flicks and quick responses, or if you play with precise, smooth aim and rely more on small micro adjustments. If you notice that you're flicking a lot, then try to find pros such as Jing or something and watch their VODs to see how they play. And the same thing goes for if you have smoother aim. And find pros such as Ye or Les that match your style. Palm aim and flicky aim also depend on what kind of sensitivity you use. Palm aimers usually opt for a much lower sense in the 250 to 300 EDPI range, if not even lower, while flicky aimers usually run 350 to 400 EDPI sensitivities or even higher. And if you're not feeling comfortable with your sensitivity, you can try copying the pro that has a similar aiming style to you and tweak it from there based on how it feels. Over time, you'll develop your own aiming style that feels comfortable and unique to you rather than looking at other pros for help. And now that you understand the importance of developing your own aim style and dialing in your sensitivity, the next step is training with purpose before playing. And let's break down how to train effectively like the pros do. If you're looking to rank up as fast as possible in the shortest amount of time, you need to spend your time in Valorant wisely. You can't just log in, spam a bunch of ranked matches, close Valorant, and call it a day. That's just playing mindlessly and wasting your time. Instead, here's my recommendation for how to divide up your time. Spend 10 to 20% of your time aim training in the range or using aim trainers like Aimlabs and Kovacs. Now, spend 70% of your time playing ranked and the remaining 10 to 20% watching your own VODs or pro ranked replays of your agent. And before doing this, you actually need to diagnose your gameplay. Watch back how you usually die and identify the mechanical mistakes that you're making. Maybe your micro adjustments are off or your crosshair placement is often inaccurate. And to keep it simple, if your issue is raw aim mistakes like missing flicks, poor micro adjustments, or target prioritization, then make sure that you focus your time on the right scenarios when you play aim trainers that help with those issues. You can check this document that I'll link down below to find playlists targeting specific aim skills like micro adjustments, tracking, or reflexes. But let's say instead you're struggling with crosshair placement, spray control, or movement. Then make sure to spend more time practicing in the practice range and death matches. These components of your mechanics are much more trainable in-game compared to aim trainers for obvious reasons. And if you're not sure what drill can help you out, there are plenty of resources on my channel. For example, you can check out my 46-minute mechanical mastery guide. And lastly, to improve your game sense, mark down moments while you're playing when you didn't know what to do or how to use your utility. Then look for pro replays from the best players on your agent to see what they do in similar scenarios. Since you're offloading aim training and game sense learning outside of ranked games, you'll be able to fully focus on ranked matches without worrying about fixing everything and trying to figure everything out while you're playing. So by systematically dividing up your time in Valorant will help you tremendously in improving your weaknesses, and trust me, you'll see much better results. Now, I saved this tip for last because there's one aspect that completely negates all kinds of training that you might do, and that is your mental. Your mentality is a fundamental part of ranking up in Valorant because you'll be faced with trolls, flamers, throwers, and all kinds of different obstacles. What you need to understand is that the best way to improve and climb the ranks is by focusing on what you can control. It's very tempting to blame your teammates when games don't go your way, but that won't help you get better. Everyone makes mistakes, and even the top pros. The difference is how you respond and fix those mistakes. Instead of blaming others, focus on what you could have done better. You can clip important rounds and review them after the game or in between rounds and point out some mistakes or missed opportunities. The difference between some of the best players in the world. However, it's important to know that one of the most crucial aspects of having the right mentality is knowing when to stop playing. If you're on a win streak, easy to let greed take over and queue one more game only to lose more. And the same goes for when you're on a losing streak, keeping the mentality that we can't end on a loss, which usually just makes you tilt and play worse. By setting limits on how many games you play or how much RR you're willing to gain or lose is just as important to protect your mental state. And taking breaks isn't just about avoiding a loss streak. It's an important way to prevent tilt and to make sure that you stay fully locked in for your next games. And talking about breaks, tilt is one of the biggest enemies to improving at Valorant. It can be triggered by anything from toxic teammates to backseaters to simply getting unlucky. And that's why it's also very important to be able to identify your tilt triggers. When you feel frustration building up, don't hesitate to do what needs to be done to stop yourself from tilting, whether that's muting the toxic teammate or standing up and taking a step back before the next round. A positive mindset helps you stay focused and confident, and it also prevents you from spreading tilt onto your teammates, which can be just as damaging. Many people don't like to hear or see others tilted, and some might even troll your games back if you're tilted. So it's important to never project your anger out to others. And once you can master your mentality, games will become much easier, the kills will come faster, and you'll rank up faster than ever. So give it a try and let me know how it goes. And if you made it this far, you might be interested in more advice on how to rank up in Valorant. And if that's the case, check out this video that we made here. Thanks for watching.